Before light can enter the world, it must pass through measure. The Zohar now speaks of 3 lights. One is too hidden to grasp. One fades toward evening. And one rises like the sun after struggle, bringing balance, repair, and healing to the soul. The 12th doorway asks, can I let light be measured without feeling abandoned by it? The Animated Zohar Bereshit A, Anime of Creation. Episode 12, The 3 Lights. The seeker stood before a silence brighter than any sun. There was no image there. No question could reach it. No thought could hold it. The sage said, the Zohar begins beyond understanding. The endless light has no mark by which the mind can grasp it. Then, within the concealment, a tiny point appeared. It was almost nothing. A needle point of light. But from that tiny opening, illumination extended toward the place of letters. The seeker watched order begin to shimmer, not as writing on a page, but as vessels of measure. The sage said, everything begins when unreachable light allows itself to be measured. A great Aleph appeared in the firmament. Its upper point shone with hidden thought. Its lower point touched the world below. Its middle line joined what was above and what was below. The sage said, Aleph is one, yet many forms depend on it. It is the beginning and the end of grades, but it remains one. Inside the central line, the seeker saw 6 lights arranged like inner steps: kindness, strength, beauty, endurance, humility, and foundation. They were not separate kingdoms. They were one body of movement. The sage said, the soul cannot receive infinity all at once. So light descends through order, not to weaken truth, but to make life possible. The first light appeared. It shone, and then hid itself. The vision opened into the heat of the day. A 10th door stood in golden brightness. A figure like Abraham sat at the opening, not as a museum image, but as a vessel of welcome. Light rose through the door from below. Light descended through the door from above. The seeker asked, why is the first light a door? The sage answered, because the first receiving of light is openness, hospitality, mercy, a path where the lower world can rise, and the higher world can enter. The golden warmth filled the field. But even this light did not remain fully exposed. It shone, then concealed itself, so the next stage could appear. The sky shifted to violet. The heat of day faded. A field opened at evening. A figure like Isaac walked there in quiet meditation. The sage said, the second light moves toward Eventide. It is the light of boundary, judgment, and dimming. The seeker felt the change. The light was not gone, but it was no longer easy. The field became a place where hidden things surfaced. At the edge of evening, Jacob saw the force he would have to face. Not a people to hate. Not a human group. A symbolic adversary, the resistance that appears when the soul reaches its vulnerable place. The sage said, evening reveals what noon can hide. After the stillness, the night deepened. Jacob wrestled with the shadowed force. The vision was not violent. It was inward, a struggle between alignment and resistance. The seeker saw a dimming around Jacob's thigh, the place outside the center of the body. The sage said, "The chapter speaks of weakness at the outer extension. When a place in holiness lacks strength, the obstructive force tries to cling there." The seeker asked, "Does the struggle mean defeat?" The sage shook his head. "No. Some wounds reveal where repair must come. Jacob is not destroyed. He is marked, humbled, and prepared for another kind of light." The night waited for sunrise. Then the sun rose. Not as ordinary morning, but as the third light. It gathered the first and second lights together. The warmth of mercy. The gravity of judgment. Right and left joined in a central path. The sage said, "The third light shines for healing. Not by denying the evening, but by including it in a higher balance." The seeker saw Jacob walking with a limp. But the limp was not shame. It was memory. It was humility. It was victory that no longer needed to pretend it had never been wounded. The central light flowed through him, and what had been weakened began to wait for restoration. The vision moved through generations. The weakened support, called Netzach, stood like a dim pillar. The sage said, "The Zohar sees repair unfolding through time. What is weakened in one moment may be restored in another." A figure like Samuel appeared, carrying the clarity of judgment. The dim pillar strengthened. Then a figure like David appeared, bringing the weakened side toward the right, toward song, mercy, and lasting sweetness. The seeker saw Moses and Aaron above, Samuel below, right and left mirrored in another world. The 6 inner qualities began to include one another. Nothing stood alone. Strength learned mercy. Mercy learned boundary. Endurance learned humility. The 3 lights were becoming one path. The sage turned to the seeker. This is also the path of your life. There are times when light feels too great to understand. There are times when light becomes dim, and you think you have been abandoned. There are times when evening exposes the place where you are vulnerable. But the Zohar teaches that dimming is not always rejection. Sometimes it is measure. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is the only way a vessel can survive long enough to be healed. The first light opens you. The second light tests you. The third light integrates you. The question is not only, why did the light change? The deeper question is, what kind of vessel is this light making me become? The seeker looked again. The door of Abraham glowed in golden noon. The field of Isaac rested in violet evening. The sunrise of Jacob stretched across the horizon. 3 lights. 3 stages. 1 path. The sage said, "Unmeasured light cannot be received. Diminished light teaches boundary. Balanced light becomes healing." Then another vision appeared. A house. A staff. A wilderness. A hidden connection between Jacob, Moses, and Joseph. The seeker felt that the story of light was about to become a story of leadership, exile, and return. The sage whispered, "The next mystery is Moses and Jacob." Next episode, Moses and Jacob.